Why can't I say Summerween? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing the Summerween book tag. This tag was created by Colleen from Little Ghost Creations to go along with the Summerween read-along that was created by Gabby Reads and Olivia Reads a Latte, which I'm hoping to participate in this year. I mean, I can't read that many books in a week. I'll probably just pick one book that fits a few prompts, but anytime that I get to act like it's Halloween is a good time. There are 13 questions, so let's get started. The first question is, what spooky reads are you most excited about in your TBR pile right now? So many. I have so many. Goblin by Josh Malerman is one of my most anticipated books right now. It is a novel in 6 novellas. I think that's interesting. I've never read a book like this before, and it's set in a town called Goblin. And I just love this cover. It's so old school looking and vintage looking, and it just looks like a really cool throwback to horror stories from the 70s and 80s. I have high hopes for it. I have so many books that I need to read. All of these books. I got the book edition of The Ring it's titled Rings, but I believe it's The Ring. I've heard mixed things about this because I guess it's written by 2 authors, so I'm really excited to read this. And Exquisite Corpse, because I've heard it's really messed up. Kind of nervous about it, but I want to see if I can handle it. So there are just a few. Next question. What's your favorite revenge novel? I don't know if I read a lot of revenge novels, but I guess recently I read The Merciless by Danielle Vega, and I guess that kind of fits the revenge novel. It's about a group of girls that kidnap another girl who they believe is possessed by the devil, and you're kind of reading the whole time thinking, okay, these girls are crazy. They just don't like this girl, and they're doing this to get revenge on her. And I don't want to say too much, but it's really messed up, it's really dark, and it's surprising, it's shocking. So I think that fits that, but I don't tend to read a lot of revenge stories. What's a horror or thriller crime book you wish you could experience for the first time? The Exorcist. I actually just recently read The Exorcist, and it was so good. It was just so well done. It's filled with so much dread and tension, and it's just horrifying. There is some horrifying imagery in that book, and I love that it kind of changed my view on The Exorcist, the film, because when I initially saw that movie, like, I always associated with it being about Reagan, but when you read the book, you get more insight into the character Father Karras, and you learn that the story is really about him and man's fight for faith, and it's just a phenomenal read, and I highly recommend it. So, sucks to suck. You were just given a handful of your least favorite candy, the one not even your siblings or friends will trade for. What candy is it, and what spooky book did you want to love that disappointed you? The candy would probably be like Good and Plenty, Mike and Ike's, any of those. I don't like those. They're gross. My favorite candy is like Reese's and M&M's, peanut M&M's.
I love chocolate.
A spooky book I read that disappointed me, The Entity. I vlogged that. That book sucked to me. It just had so much potential to be a story that focused on the woman and her overcoming all this adversity and horrible things going on in her life, but it really sexualized her, in my opinion, and it focused on the people around her and how they could take advantage of her situation. So I was really disappointed in that, and it was a very difficult read for me because it was 500 pages of a woman going through a traumatic experience and no one really believing her. I don't recommend that one. Time to put on your costume. If you could exist in one spooky novel, which one would it be? Who would your best friend be? I don't know. Would I really want to exist in a spooky novel? Because I would die, probably. Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I think it's cool that there's these characters that have these abilities to do things, like the lead character can, basically warp time and go anywhere to find whatever she needs to find. I also like the idea of Christmas Land. I just don't like the evil elements of it. If we could take that out, if I could live in Christmas Land and not have my soul taken and slowly turn into a vampire, that would be wonderful. I would like to live in Christmas Land all year long, and my best friend would be Vic, the main character, because she's awesome. She's a badass. She's real. She has real problems and issues, and she's not perfect because nobody is perfect. Humans aren't perfect, and I think she was a well-written female character. Question number 6. What's your favorite haunted house book and or television show? Wow, I don't think I've read a ton of haunted house books yet. I know. Television show would be The Haunting of Hill House automatically because that show was so well done. It was beautiful. It was so haunting in many ways. The performances, the characters, it's tragic and it's just so well done. And it's horrifying at times in many ways. There's real life horrors of people going through drug addiction and loss, and there's the horrors of ghosts. So that's probably the biggest standout for me right now. I really want to read Hell House. I want to read Kill Creek. I need to read the Amityville Horror. So number 7, the food question. You can only pick one from each. Would you rather a chocolate or sour candy?
Chocolate.
Coffee or tea? Coffee all the way, every day. I'm a coffee addict. Thank you. And fun fact, I only started drinking coffee like a few years ago, and when I first started drinking it, I was basically drinking all cream and sugar, and then I trained myself to drink it black, and now I'm obsessed with my coffee black. I love the taste of coffee. Give it to me, please. I love it. Send me all your coffee. And C, apple or pumpkin pie? Apple. I've never had pumpkin pie. I know. I'm a basic bitch and I love apple pie. Okay, so number 8, show us your favorite book with a witch or a woman who gets screwed over by society and the patriarchy. Do I have a book about a witch? This book has has a female character that's screwed over by society. She's in a band and her male bandmates kind of sell their souls so that he could become famous. I feel like Rosemary's Baby kind of fits that because she's screwed over by this secret society that is, they want her to have Satan's baby, so that kind of sucks for her. Another book that would probably fit that is Carrie, but she gets them all back in the end. She's not a villain, okay? She is the star. She is the hero of that story, if you ask me. Number 9, which book on your shelves has the scariest book cover? Okay, so I think The Only Good Indians has a really scary cover. It's so simple, but it's haunting. Like, it's just is it an elk or a deer? And it's just looking at you with its creepy eye, and it just makes you want to read it, or at least that's what it did for me. It's ominous looking. It gives me that feeling of dread. And it's so simple. There's nothing but the elk in a black background. But I wouldn't want to run across this animal in the woods at night. So number 10, it's Summerween and it's hot outside. What book or books do you recommend that give off summer vibes? Think lakes, cabins, beaches, whatever reminds you of summer. A House at the Bottom of a Lake by Josh Malerman. This is a novella. It is so unnerving and unsettling to read. It's about 2 kids that are on their first date and they take a ride in a kayak or a canoe or whatever, and then they find this lake, and in the bottom of the lake is a house. And then they explore the house, and it just gets creepy from there. It's very well written. I highly recommend it. I want to read Jaws. I actually just found a old paperback edition of that book. I mean, what's more summer than Jaws? It's set in the summer. It's about a shark that attacks a town in the summer around the 4th of July, and how could you, I mean, that's perfect. If you want to read a summer read, I would go with that. And I haven't read it yet, but I love the movie. The movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I've heard mixed things about the book, but I'm interested to see how they compare. So that's probably the most summer book I can think of. Question number 11. You and your friends are exploring a well-known haunted house. You get separated and suddenly you hear screams coming from somewhere upstairs. You run into the next room and find 2 of your friends. Which 2 fictional characters are they? Who do you want in this situation with you? I want Emma from None Shall Sleep. Emma has been through a lot. She was kidnapped by a serial killer and she escaped. She's super smart and intuitive, and she knows how to talk to people and knows how to handle herself. And she's so smart and level-headed that the FBI recruit her to start interviewing teenage serial killers to help them catch serial killers. So I would really want her on my side. I feel like she could help us get out of any situation. This is hard to think. I feel like I've forgotten all the books I've read. And another character is Vic from Nosferatu by Joe Hill. She's resourceful, she's tough, she's also been through a lot, so she knows how to adapt to tough situations. I feel like if she were in a haunted house with me, she'd get me out. She'd keep me safe too. She'd probably sacrifice herself to save me, which I wouldn't ask her to do that, but that's the kind of person she is. Question number 12. Trick or treat. Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, Mary Shelley, and Shirley Jackson are at your front door. Who do you give the best and biggest candy bar to? Obviously, Stephen King. I adore him. I think that his story itself is amazing, how he was super broke and struggling to even survive, and he and his wife Tabitha just had an amazing relationship, and she supported him and pushed him to finish writing Carrie, and she supported his writing career, and he became the Stephen King that we know and love today. Or some people don't love him, or some people have issues with him, but he has given back so much to his community. It's insane. I took a Stephen King tour in Bangor, and I learned so much about him and his wife and his family that I never knew. And it makes you look at him in a whole new way. And I love the stories that he's created. It is one of my favorites. Salem's Lot is one of my favorite. They're just real. They feel real, and the characters feel real to me, and they battle with real life demons like drugs, poverty, abuse, and I don't know, I just love him. I haven't read much from any of the other authors listed in that question, but I did just buy a collection of stories from Shirley Jackson, which I'm hoping to read. H.P. Lovecraft, I don't know. And the last question, question number 13. What is your favorite spooky book to movie adaptation, and where both of them are good? Ooh, Let the Right One In. This book is so well written. This came out in 2004. And I was so shocked at how scary it was. Like, I remember it was ingrained in my memory. It's about a bullied boy who befriends his next door neighbor who he thinks is a vampire, but it is so much more than that. It's a story about loneliness, and it's just so sad and heartbreaking at times, and I love that we get to explore this unlikely relationship between this little boy and his next door neighbor slash vampire. And there are some really, really brutal moments in this, and it's just a phenomenal read. I highly recommend it. I don't see enough people talking about this, but this book is so good. And the movie, the Swedish version of this, is a very good adaptation. It just captures that loneliness feeling that you feel when you're reading the book. And the little boy who plays the main character, his name is Oscar and the vampire is Eli. And the little boy who plays Oscar, it's just so heartbreaking to watch him go through being bullied and just feeling completely lost and like he has no purpose in life and like he has no friends. It's an emotional watch, and it will have you just rooting for these two to just run away together and live like a perfect life that is not really possible when one of them is a vampire. And there's just some twists in this, some revelations in this that I don't want to give away that were really bold for the time, and I just think it's so well done. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book and the Swedish version of the movie. They did a US remake, which was also pretty good. I just highly recommend the original one. Alright, there you have it. Those are all of the questions for the Summerween book tag. Summerween? Summerween is a very hard word to say when you're talking really fast. Try it. Say that 10 times fast and see how you do. Thank you so much to Colleen from Little Ghost Creations. I'll share her video down below. And Gabby Reads and Olivia Reads a Latte for creating the Summerween read-along. I'll link their announcement videos down below for the prompts for Summerween. And let me know, are you going to be participating in Summerween? I would love to know what you're planning on reading. Yeah, I'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.